Evisceradio. What's shaking, everybody? My name is Thomas, and welcome back to another episode of Evisceradio. Exercise, baby. It's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for everybody. It is 100% absolutely necessary for a great, healthy, long-lasting, and positive life. And when you combine a positive mental and physical energy with some awesome as fuck extreme music, you have yourself the keys to a long and happy life indeed. On today's episode, I chat with Arthur Lux, online fitness coach and owner of Rep Temple, who has combined just that and is living the example 100%, helping clients who are not only fans of the music, but those who wish to better themselves on the whole. This guy is as genuine as they come. And if you are keen on wishing the most for yourself, or just curious as to what tidbits of truth you might hear in this interview, you would be doing yourself a favor to watch the following and check out what Arthur has to offer. Yeah, how's it going?
Going good, man. Sorry, can you remind me your name? Thomas, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, yeah, thanks for your time here, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, cool. I'm stoked when I'm talking to people who have not done just sit down chats like this before. It just opens up the door to kind of ask sort of anything, because ultimately it's just about who you are and what you're doing. I chat with a lot of bands and stuff, and this is a bit refreshing on my end too, because it's not often that I am chatting to people who were sort of metal scene adjacent, like yourself. You've tied it in with fitness, and that's fucking dope, because my life in terms of being fit has always revolved around the music as well.
Awesome.
And it's just nice to be able to fucking have a like-minded person sit down and be like, well, A, you do it, and B, you're actually putting out fitness stuff on Instagram, like a coaching and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've always wanted to ask, just because there's not a lot of people who are down with fitness and regimen as much. I shouldn't say as much as I am, but they're few and far between. Everyone gets caught up in their walks of life and stuff. Fucking what made it click for you? What was it finally, were you always kind of working out? Did you grow up around sports, and did the gym finally click for you? What preceded this whole workout journey for yourself?
Sure, yeah. So growing up, I was pretty athletic. I was, into sports and stuff. And, all through high school. Then I got really into skateboarding, and, skateboarding's great. But also with that lifestyle comes a little bit of partying and stuff too. And as
yeah,
for sure. And then as I got involved with metal and the metal scene, there's a lot of sex, drugs, rock and roll with that as well. So I kind of got involved with, just too much partying, and sort of fell off the path in terms of keeping myself healthy and with fitness and everything. And after many years of that, I just pretty much overnight decided, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to sign up at my gym, and started my journey.
Great. That was just sort of, you had enough of your shit, and then you needed to be accountable.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, same deal. I was a swimmer growing up, but I wasn't so much into school sports when I was in high school and whatever. But I always had been hitting the gym in and out kind of stuff, but the diet was never really on point. And I think after about maybe a decade of sort of semi committing to the gym, lockdown happened with COVID. And I was like, this is going to go one of two ways. I'm either going to put on 150 pounds, or I can keep myself accountable and stick to a wicked regimen, because I was in a situation where I could survive no problem off of the lockdown. It was about a year and a half from where I was at. And I doubled down and really hit it hard. Found calisthenics, which is my preferred way of working out. And then it's sort of been off to the races since then. So are you predominantly a weightlifter? I've seen you do burpees and stuff like that, that's what I bring to the table all the time. I'm all about calisthenics, burpee related stuff.
Yeah, man, burpees are great. Honestly, I use them a lot of the time just to wake up in the morning. It's kind of my routine to just wake up and hit a set of burpees right away before I drink my coffee. Wakes you up more than a cup of coffee. And then from there, I just mostly focus on bodybuilding. I've also done some martial arts, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Do you build your own programs for clients and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
You must.
Yeah, I do custom programming for training and nutrition.
That's killer. I'm glad you're keeping busy, man. Also, you're one of the few people who know how to put a grind down on releasing, just keeping, or not releasing, but keeping up to par with your social media releases and stuff like that. I personally hate it. I can't do it. It drives me crazy to commit to Instagram releases and stories and stuff like that. Do you do you partition out a part of the day to release stuff like that, or do you have like a queue of things in order to like release that shit? Because a lot of the times that's kind of what holds a lot of internet personalities back. I struggle with it all the time. I can't. I missed that generation. I think like I grew up around like dial-up modems, and when like MP3s were just coming out. I missed all of that. Like I never had Facebook or Instagram.
Right. Well, first of all, I totally feel you there, man. It is a full-time job, and it can
It's
be
brutal.
a real pain in the ass sometimes. But yeah, I pretty much, yeah, it's a full-time job. I usually come up with some concepts for content ideas, and then I'll like sit down and I'll look at what other creators are doing, and I'll try to find holes in the market, like something that hasn't really been touched on. And then I'll, write up a bunch of scripts, and I try to do batch content creation where, I might go into the gym and film like a few pieces of content. So then I'll have that. So
Oh
then I'll have that for the week, if that makes sense.
yeah, no. Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's a great way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you definitely have a routine now for yourself, and I'm sure
Yeah,
because with a full time job comes a whole way that your week runs. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. I mean, like, with running a podcast and just being an entrepreneur in any field is like, that alone is a full-time job. But now you got to worry about the marketing and the social media too. And it's like a lot of things to juggle.
Yeah, oh, big time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you are you doing this full time? Is this your full time gig? This is what you
This
do?
is my full-time gig.
Congratulations, man. That makes me happy to hear that shit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I started it about 10 months ago, so it's still fairly new to me. But I pretty much, I'd been working in trades for many years, and after a while, I just realized that the current company I was with was just kind of a dead end job, and I had an
Okay.
opportunity to go all in and start my own business, and I had no idea how it was going to work out, but something within me was telling me that this is the path to take. So I basically threw down a bunch of money I didn't have and just like burn the bridges, and like, you know what, it's worked out really great so far.
It looks like it. I mean, only a year in, and you're like 5,000 plus. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, and I hear you. Throw a bunch of money at it that you don't have, and like burn your bridges, start over again. Sometimes you gotta like in order to just chase something that you want, you have to be able to throw down on it.
Yeah,
And the money or the connections, they all come back in different ways after the fact if you keep on being persistent, which you definitely are.
for sure, man. But when you have something that you're passionate about and you have an opportunity like that, the universe loves bold action, and when you take that,
It sure
you
does.
know it's like the path unfolds before you, but you got to take that first step.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I say this and like whenever the universe shit comes up in my interviews, I love it when it goes down this way. That the universe is alive, man. It shows you things in ways that and maybe paths to go down that you never really would have conceived before, lessons that you never feel like you had to learn, except in the way that they present themselves to you. It's a definitely like a head up, moving forward kind of mentality. And when it comes to passion projects such as like your online like a training here or this podcast type stuff, it's just sort of like it's a natural it's a natural direction. Like you don't need to try and work or force yourself to kind of go do that stuff. It just sort of happens, right? And and brings the right people across too. I'm sure that like some of the clients that you get are definitely along the same lines of the same mentality that you have, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And a lot of people and friends and connections that I've made since, in the last 10 months would not have happened had I not taken that first step, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know where you want to go with it afterwards? Or are you just sort of like, here's where I am right now, and the next steps will happen whenever and whatever they might be?
Well, I definitely, I'm committed to building a brand. So, of course, I offer personal training, like private one-on-one coaching as well. But I want to build this into something that can bring value to everyone, whether or not you're a client of mine or not. My goal is to, yeah, basically build this into a fitness brand where someone can come and get free value and free advice on how they can make improvements in their fitness journey. And then from there, if you want to take it to the next step, then I do offer my coaching services as well.
Killer. Nice. So I got to ask too, being a metalhead, what made you combine the two?
Well, man, metal's just been the foundation of my life since I, first got into it. So anything that I would do in life, it's always going to be there as a part of it. Um, like I mentioned, I kind of fell into the party lifestyle for the first little for a while there. But I just felt like, to me, metal's always been such a strong and powerful music, and I was I was kind of I had found myself in this victim mentality, and I used the music as inspiration to push myself harder in the gym and step into a more heroic mindset. And that's a common theme in metal is, mythology and heroic, mythology and stuff like that. And the music itself being so high energy is the perfect music to crush some weights to as well. So you know what? It just made sense.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, man. Is your clientele solely metalheads?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's such a niche to dive into, right? Like if I had found like I signed up for an online fitness thing during the lockdown, and like if like that was not heavy metal based at all. But had I had known something like that was out there, like if you were there like 3 years ago, I totally would have given you my money. Yeah. And just try and, combine the two. I've always, always, always been listening to metal ever since work. Well, pretty much for everything on my walks, all that kind of stuff. 80% of the time I listen to it. I can remember the first metal music that I ever heard too. Can you remember that far back?
Yeah, so I do. I can actually. My first exposure was I pretty much went right into black metal. um,
Oh, you're a black metal guy. Of course you were. Yeah, because you had the Thanafaxeth shit on the one of the website one of the videos. Yeah,
yeah, and I see you wearing that shirt too. Right on.
yeah.
uh,
They're from the city.
oh, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
wicked band. No, for me it was when I was into skateboarding. I had a friend who I skated with, and he was into bands like Slayer, Cannibal Corpse, Immortal. So I do remember the first time I heard Immortal, Sons of Northern Darkness, and I was just like, yeah, just blown away by the power, the bass, and just yeah, that the coldness within the riffs. That was my first exposure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's been black metal ever since.
Yeah, man, black metal's my main thing. I also love old school thrash and just straight up heavy metal.
Yeah, I'm more about the vibe than the actual sounds that come out of it. Like if you were to look at my record collection, it's like I'd say good 3/4 of it is death metal. All the different types of it. I've got some old school thrash, and yeah, I got a lot of like cheesy '80s stuff and good good funky '70s music too. So it's out there.
Right on.
Yeah. But when it comes down to the actual working out stuff, I've been floating around a few specific bands. I never really turned to black. Wait, is that true? No, I've listened to Thanafax that's actually working out. It's kind of hard. I need rhythm, like something with a bit of a groove to it. And black metal for sure has got a lot of backbone as well. Whereas a band like Thanafax is good, I think, in other areas of life. But that's just my preference. Those guys for me, are more about going kind of psychotic.
No doubt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you had a chance to see him live?
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times now.
Where are you at right now? Where are you from?
I am from Vancouver, BC. I now live a few towns over in Maple Ridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dope. I don't know why I thought you were American. Why did I think that?
Oh, and where are you?
So
Where are you from?
I'm from Nova Scotia.
Okay,
I'm from like the other coast, but I'm in Toronto right now. Just chasing. I work in film, so I'm just collecting those paychecks.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. What was else was I going to say? Oh yeah. Any. So there's a misconception I find when people talk to me about like fitness and stuff like that. I'm not a coach, but I understand how something like a diet really does affect the aesthetics of someone who's working out, and I try and squish as many false infos that are out there as possible. People who like might be starting it or be working out under the wrong pretext. Like if I do, for example, a shitload of ab workouts, I'm gonna have abs. Well, we both know that's going to be bullshit if you don't have the diet to back it up. And it's one of the things that I try and like get people to like sort of understand, and the way like the body feels in terms of certain workouts, like burpees again is one of my main things. Do you find that you have to dispel certain misinformations that float around the fitness world to your clients? Like you must get all kinds of questions, especially with new people starting out about like, how do I do this? Or is it true when you do this, you get that? And then you have to be like, no, man, like, or, you know,
All the time, man, because there's like you said, there's so much information out there, and it's not that it's all wrong, but a lot of it can conflict each other, and people kind of, you know, when you see a lot of like social media fitness influencers and they get on camera and they're speaking with like, well, then these guys must be right. They must know what they're talking about, right? And so a lot of
yeah.
people have a lot of preconceived ideas on, you know, diet and nutrition and training, and it's not that they're wrong, but what I like to do is get to the core principles of what is going to get you the results. How to train properly with progressive overload, how to eat properly with prioritizing protein, caloric deficit if you're trying to lose weight. These are the core principles that are going to get you results. And all the other like strategies, like what you could do, like keto diet or whatever the fuck, those are things that you can try out, but those will work, but it's because they're based on those principles that get the results.
Yeah, no, I hear you. When it comes to fad diets, I know people who swear by keto, and you see the results. Consistency is what brings all that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
And like certain things work for better people for sure. But it can be. Some people are just wired to believe things that they see on the internet when it comes to fitness specifically, and it takes a long time to talk them out of it. Um, I've had people ask me if I ever consider doing like a fitness thing as well, like fitness coaching, and the answer is no. Because I would rather kind of go about it my own way, and if people have questions, I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge, with the preface of being like, "This is what worked for me." I can't say it's going to be for you. It depends on what your body type is and what your metabolism's like, and how you can go about your thing. But but through that process that I did, there was a lot of realizations that I came to, which dispelled my own, what I thought was like, dispelled my own knowledge in terms of what I thought was right on the internet. Because all of my fitness uh, uh, journeys, for the most part, came from like seeing what I saw on TV or on YouTube, and then applying it and finding out it didn't work or something like that. Was there something that happened through your journey where you sort of figured it out on your own? I was like, oh shit, this is what works for me, or like, oh my god, I can't believe I thought this way for so long. Like, were you ever turned around at one point for the better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the first 4 years of my journey, I pretty much was on my own. I had no guidance. I was pretty much just winging it, and I got some results for sure, but pretty mediocre overall. So then I hired my own coach who taught me about macros, and I started to dial in my nutrition. And from there, I really got more results. I got shredded. But the way in which this coach had me on the diet, I personally would not recommend, because it was basically, it depleted me. Like I was at like a super low fat diet, super low calorie diet over the course of 3 months, and like, yeah, i lost I lost the fat, I looked shredded, but on like my hormones were all messed up, I was so tired all the time. So
Yeah.
that was an experience for sure. And then when I decided to get certified as a coach, as a nutritionist, and I learned all that stuff for myself, I realized that you don't have to be as extreme to get results. You know what I mean?
That's the big fat one right there. You do not have to be like a super crazy health Nazi in order to be able to make that stuff work.
Totally.
Same similar story. The most, the best results that I ever got was when I signed up to that online YouTube coach guy, and I was on what they put me through. I was on what they would call a reverse diet.
Mhm.
And so, you know what that one
Yeah.
is. It was a carb. It was carb heavy, low fat, big, huge. Like I was deficit. Like I was doing 108, 1800 a day calories for 3 months, and I went from 180 to 150 on the nose, and it changed. Obviously, like I was way. I do not rock 150 well. I'm a healthy walk around 170, 180 person, give or take a little bit there. Um, but on the reverse side of it, when I started introducing more carbs back into that diet, is when the muscle started to pack on and the body fat started to stay low. That was cool, but it was militant. It was super duper like antisocial, which was fine during the lockdown. But I tried to stick to that when I had moved to Toronto shortly after. and there was a lot of saying no. There was a lot of just not enjoying your life. There was a lot of going home after work and staying in on the weekends just to try and keep that down. Whereas life's not really about that. It's there is consistency, but there's also enjoying your process too, and just to maintain that is unrealistic, I would find, and that was my big realization.
Absolutely. And, it depends what your goals are. Like, are you planning on stepping on stage and competing in bodybuilding? Well, if not,
Exactly.
then you probably don't need to go to those extremes, right? And
No,
a lot of people
no.
wonder, like, what's the best diet? There's so many different ones to choose from. The best diet is the one that you can stick with. The best diet is
Yes.
one that will work for you with your lifestyle. And it's much better, in my opinion, to be 1% better each day than it is to try to just dive headfirst and make all these changes and just overwhelm yourself. And then after a month or two, you can't sustain it, right?
No. No, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail 100% of the time. You're just gonna crash, and that'll be it. Yeah, it does take the dedication, but also you're right. Like you just cannot sustain such an intense change of your lifestyle, change of everything, especially when you have like other things to consider, like a partner or kids or something like that, where like the food can kind of come at whenever o'clock, and like you're accountable for other people other than your own. Like it could be tough, man. And then just to lump all that stuff on top of it, it scares a lot of people.
For sure.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say here? Are there any other rumors to dispel that you had come across of in your own time too, aside from the dieting and that kind of stuff?
Rumors like around fitness.
Yeah, rumors around fitness, man, for sure. Like the wealth of knowledge is huge when it comes to stuff like this, and being someone who came from that world and still is like involved in it to some degree, like it's really interesting to hear your 2 cents on that stuff. Mine definitely was the diet, for sure.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the main one for sure. I mean, training, there are like a certain set of principles that if you follow will get you results. So there's plenty of ways that you can train. Um, but the diet is the one a lot of people struggle with. And I struggled with myself for many years too. So that's the main one for sure.
Yeah. Do you drink?
Very occasionally. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find
Yeah.
now that if I do drink, I pay for it the next day. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's increasingly more rare these days.
Yeah, for sure. It hits me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
I'm almost 40 right now, and I cannot handle being hungover. A, I don't have the time.
Hmm.
It always leads to not looking after myself the next day too. Like I'm ordering out, I'm sleeping in, I'm not moving around, I'm not doing anything. So one day of like drinking to excess leads to 2, 3 days of recovery in like a not good way. You lose so much progress that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you must have some clients too that struggle with drinking and like are trying to talk them into like removing that aspect a little bit, or at least winding it down.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I encourage for sure. It's not really my place to,
No, I know.
but I definitely, I find really that when you replace negative habits with positive habits, when you get really into, bettering yourself by eating healthier, by getting good sleep, by training consistently, the bad habits tend to drop away after a while because you realize how much better you feel by committing to these goals instead of just wasting your time drinking on a Friday night. Maybe you'll go for a run or a walk or hit the gym,
Yeah,
and you wake up
yeah,
Saturday morning feeling like $1 million instead of your friends or whatever who are Saturday's a total write-off, right?
yeah, exactly. And I saw people do. It's hard to break that kind of lifestyle too. A lot of weekend warriors are about their weekend warrioring. It could be tough. I come from that too. I used to not so much the going out and partying phase, but like my line of work fosters alcoholism and drug use. Working in film, working in the entertainment industry, that's just what it brings about. And you can get stuck down that rabbit hole pretty freaking quick. And having worked in it for as long as I've seen people go from fit to not, or from not to fit, and just hit these turning points in themselves when they're going from not fit to fit, that they have to wind up doing something, or things are going to get just worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any goals for yourself in terms of what your next fitness goal might be? Like, what do you train for yourself specifically? You wake up in the morning for burpees, you go to the gym.
Yeah, right now, well, to be honest, like more recently I've been training just to kind of maintain where I'm at. as I've been, so busy with other things. But going forward, I'm probably going to hire my own coach and get more into powerlifting to break through some of the plateaus that I've been stuck at. Because
Yeah.
I mostly work with people who are towards the beginning of their fitness journey, looking to lose some weight, build some muscle. But now that I've been into it for about 8 years now, I'm at a point where I need to seek out advice from people who have that much more experience, right? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Every level, I think the best way to level up in life is to seek mentorship and to really just humble yourself and say, I don't have all the answers. When you find people who have walked the path before you, they can show you the steps that you need to take to get there.
100%.
And that is invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You got so your best lessons can be learned from other people who have gone through it for sure.
100%.
That's a very healthy way of looking at stuff. Actually, I haven't even thought about that in a long time too. Maybe I'm due for something like that. I train for I almost train at a habit. I don't think I really have any goals personally right now. I was during like I still do my calisthenics. It's more convenient to be able to work out at home. I'm still pretty burpee, like pro burpee, as I've mentioned in a few times already. But I have a personal record that I want to hit, and I feel like I can get there, but it does involve a lot of recovery. But when I was in the lockdown phase and being lighter than I was able to hit a shitload of volume. But the thing about hitting the floor with the burpees is that it can get old, and I've been considering going back to the gym and getting into weightlifting. And when I used to do that, I was powerlifting, but I don't think I got the joints for it anymore. So I might go back to like a more of a hypertrophy based, higher, or not hypertrophy based, but a higher rep scheme sort of deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure really what else I got for you, man. Like, it's just, I really just wanted to pick your brain about like combining the two for metal, where you came from with the metal and how it became like a fitness niche for you to follow. I'm really happy that it's working out for you. You sound great. Like you've got your shit together. Like, and I just wanted to say hi. And I hear that, I hear what you're doing, and I wish you the best, man.
Thanks, Thomas, and I appreciate what you're doing too, man. Like having a platform like this to bring people on and share their story, I think is a really positive thing. So you're doing good
Thank
work, man.
you. Thank you. It's just here so we can just chat, and everyone's got their own missions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool, man. Well, listen, now you keep fucking doing that grind, and I'll be in touch, bro.
Awesome, Thomas. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, take care.
Take care. Cheers.